Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Hello, welcome to the latest Gull'S Eye View. I'm joined by Dom.
Hello guys, you right?
Yeah, I'm joined by Chris.
Evening all, how are we?
Yeah, great. And I'm joined by, we're not joined by Tom. He's a nice name. Well, I wasn't at the game, I have to admit, because I've been a little bit unwell, but I'm fine.
You went out of it, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's too fair. It's great that we're sponsored now. Shout out to our sponsors for making us have to talk about Torquay every week now. Where do we start? So just by the sounds of it, sounds like your typical, we played, well, like the better team, but we just didn't kill the game off. And then, yeah, we scored and then conceded. I predicted a 1-1, just for a point out. But yeah, go on then, Chris. How was it?
Well, I've gone a bit statsy this week for you, Sam, because I know you like a stat. So I just got a few stats with it just to highlight again.
Tom's job. He's fuming.
Yeah.
Wow, you've got the numbers. My goodness.
I know, actual numbers. So we had. Hello. I've got stats and no video. That's better. So 52% possession, 17 shots to 6, 15 corners to 7. Crazy, only 4 fouls conceded, of which half of those had yellow cards given against them. So in terms of stats, 17 shots to 6, again, better side, comfortably. Were they any good? No, I didn't think they were. You know, rascal conditions, it's worth pointing out. It was muddy and wet and horrible and windy and vile. But it's another game we didn't win.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the bottom line. And anybody in the Talkie Talk WhatsApp group will know I was a little bit grumpy on Saturday evening, and I've worked out why now. It took me till halfway. It took me till halfway through today to work out quite why I was so grumpy. I think I've worked it out. I think it's because I just generally grumpy. Maybe I don't know, but I think it's because a month ago we had real hope after the Aldershot game, and then the Derby Cup. All of a sudden, it felt like we had a bit of momentum, bit of hope when we signed those 4 players that have made a difference. Yeah, and then we haven't won a game since. We were this time a month ago. We were saying we've got some winnable games coming up. Barnet away, we can get some in. You know, Dorking at home, Gateshead at home, and all of that. And we haven't won another game.
Yeah,
and I think that might be why I'm a little bit grumpy. I think.
Yeah, no, this is definitely
the post-match interview, Chris.
Don't start me with recording.
Poor Dom, me. He tries his best. Well. And he does everywhere else, but maybe post-match they need to maybe look at that a little bit. But yeah, I'm not too sure if it's really hitting the spot with Torquay fans at the moment. I won't lie to you. But
is anyone still watching the post-match interviews?
I'm not personally, but I just wait. I see the notification that it's come out, and then I just see the Talkie Talk WhatsApp chat. So
that was me on Saturday.
Chris is off again. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, winnable is the key word there, Chris, isn't it? It was the most winnable of winnable games you'll get as a Torquay supporter this season. Yeah. If it had been a boxing match, we'd have won it by points clearly. We were throwing all the punches, you know, we were doing all the right things up until the final finish. We played some nice football, didn't we? I mean, there was interplay, there was some nice triangles, even something we haven't seen much at Playmore this season. We had width. The set pieces were even good. The corners we had 15 corners. We probably had 12 good ones in that one.
I think it helped that the goalkeeper was terrified to come off his line. So anything 4 yards out, he still stood on his line, wasn't he?
That's it. So every set piece was dangerous. And I don't know if we lack a poacher, perhaps. I mean, we lack lots of things, but nobody could get that final touch, could they? Nobody was in the right spot. I don't know if they weren't gambling or making the right moves, but it just wouldn't fall, would it? And it's just a lot of, oh, God, why hasn't it gone in? And,
I think the fact we had one striker in the matchday squad, that's probably a bad starting point, isn't it? Obviously, with Goodwin absent, suspended, Andrews presumably injured again. That's a problem. So, I mean, I thought Jarvis was good again. He was big and strong, really nice goal, really good header, big, strong, powerful header. Yeah, really good. But
we replaced Danny Wright with him.
But what you needed with 20 minutes to go, is somebody to come off the bench as a point of difference, isn't it? And somebody who can kind of come on, maybe a bit of pace, somebody who can kind of jazz it up a bit and just kind of give you what you needed. And even after they scored, we were still kind of coming. It was an interesting. I think both goals looking back were interesting, weren't they? I don't personally think it was a foul by Jarvis for the goal.
He had both. He had both hands on the back of the defender, though. So 9 times out of 10, that would have been given.
And I think that's the thing. I mean, I don't think it was a foul. He'd isolated the centre back. He was stronger than him, more physical than him. Got up above him and headed it in. But I was surprised it wasn't given. Sure, because they give those a lot. But I think then consequently, that's why 5 minutes later, I don't know how much more of goalkeepers get everything. So I don't know how much more of a clear foul you want than him about to jump and a bloke sticking his side into his midriff and then him dropping the ball. It was clear, it was obvious. I don't get, so maybe the fact he hadn't given the other one at the other end meant he didn't give that one, maybe, but it's a clear foul.
It was a silly 5 minutes.
One thing I will say about that
could have been given.
One thing I will say about that goal now, I understand if you're on the viewpoint that it's a foul, then it makes absolutely no difference what I'm about to say. It's fair enough. But I did find Halstead, who did make a few good saves. Okay. I do find the technique of the fact that when the ball's coming up here, he's gone to catch it like that. A bit strange because he's going to put himself balance. Yeah, he should either make decisions to punch or catch it like that. And really, a goalkeeper should be the other way around. A keeper should be absolutely, and they get protection to be battering the striker there. Like he should be causing him damage.
You can breathe near a goalkeeper normally, can't you? Get a foul. What's interesting, I might be wrong, but just from recollecting, Dom, you might remember. From what I remember, he didn't punch anything up until they scored, and then after that, he punched everything, which maybe that was him thinking, oh, blimey, maybe I should have punched it. But yeah, it's just, I mean, goalkeepers get everything, as I say, but it's just a foul. I mean, the bloke piled
through. He didn't have much to do until after we'd scored, did he? It was pretty much plain sailing. I mean, Sam could have played in goal until then. It's game management for me. I mean, as soon as we scored, instead of looking for a second,
it's just how many times have we done that this season?
Suddenly, our whole team went back towards the penalty area. The likes of Asa, and they should know better than that. And we were going backwards suddenly, instead of going right. We've got our first goal. Now we can push on. None of that.
It was almost a visible step backwards.
It's a poor mentality, isn't it? Poor mentality.
Yeah.
And maybe Gary Johnson should have made changes at that point and just said, right, we've got our goal. Maybe make a sub at that point and just take a bit of time off the clock just to get us.
We're kind of in that situation again though. What was on the bench? Crow, Omar, Hansen replaced McGavin with 8-9 minutes to go, just as for a bit of freshness in midfield. But again, going back to about forwards, you can't just keep bringing in lone players. I get that, but in terms of where the forwards are, there was nothing off the bench on a filthy wet day. You could stick on with 15-20 minutes to go and say, go and win as a game, go and get us a second goal. It was nothing, absolutely nothing. But it's just frustrating. And again, building on my stats, I've been thinking again. I was thinking yesterday when I was trying to work out why I was quite so miffed. And I think it might be linked to when you look at it statistically. Yes, like Gary said after game, we've got to keep going. It's still, still lots of games. Well, there are. So if you look at it mathematically, we've got 15 points from 21 games.
You have to hit mid-table.
So what do you need? What do you need to stay up in the National League? I'd say. I think it's 46, 47 over recent years.
Let's aim for 50, to be honest, I'd say.
Well, that's what I was working out in my head. So if we say we're looking at 50, we've got 15 from 21. That means we need 35 points from 25 games. So that's not a long way off. 10 wins, let's say. That's a win every other game, pretty much. Not quite, but not a long way off. And we've won 3 in 21.
We're done. We're absolutely. It's going to take.
And then all of a sudden,
it's going to take a huge job to keep up this season. Honestly, people need to wake up to that fact. Not as we're 6 points off. I say it like every week, but I think a lot of people have accepted that fate. But
all of a sudden, it does become. I think that was probably what dawned on when you think, geez, actually, when you look at this as a wider picture, 35 points in 25 games, when you're quite like we are.
Huge trouble.
Well, that's 6 points. It's taken about 6 weeks to get 6 points, isn't it? And last, even with a better team. So even with bulking up the squad,
we're just mirroring. We're just doing a bad job of mirroring. We're mirroring the Ower season. We were a disaster at the start. We suddenly weren't rubbish anymore. We actually got to a higher position than we have been this season. We're out of the bottom 4. Then we sort of went bad. Then what I was going to point out, we drew 1-1 against Gateshead, similar time of year. Sean McGinty got a 90-minute equaliser that day. And I remember walking away from that game and everyone's going, oh, we're going to be all right. We've just got a 90-minute equaliser. I think we were like 22nd at that point. Can't remember really. And I walked away going, we just got 90-minute, we're in huge trouble. Because I've seen we should be beating teams like Gateshead. I'm not confident. Next thing you know, we lost like every game in January. And it was just an absolute disaster for the rest of the season. And I just can't believe we're going through it all again. I cannot believe we're having these conversations. I'm going to say it every week as Gary Johnson as manager. It's embarrassing. Like most clubs, he'd be gone by now. I'm not bothered about the in and out conversations. It's irrelevant for me because we're in absolute. Well, it's not irrelevant, but we're in huge trouble. And I don't think the club's going to act. Clearly isn't going to act.
What do they think? We haven't heard from them again this week. I mean, all I see from the club website today is stuff thanking the ball boys. I see them saying
the club won't change.
Free tickets.
The owners and all this, they clearly think they're Wilder Johnson.
Almost like we're floating along in some kind of dream here, thinking this isn't really happening. So
and like, Gary Johnson, surely he's going to get the magic out soon.
We've got Gary Johnson, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly, which we all kept doing for the first like 10-15 games of the season. Let's be honest, like when these players come in and there's some parts of our fan base, or probably older ones, more experienced Torquay fans, going, oh god, this seems awful, and we're going, no, we've got Gary Johnson, he knows a gem when he sees one, even though last season was a disaster in recruitment.
And again another issue is if you look at the sides down there with us, we've played the majority of them at home now. Scunthorpe, Oldham, Gateshead, Maidenhead. So we're going to have to go to all of these games, and sure, we can go and get results away from home, but we've not won away since the start of September. So when you start kind of looking at it, logically and kind of in the wider term, and you look at what we got coming up, Saturday will be difficult because they're, they had a difficult start, but they're picking up and they're a side you would think they're always top 10.
Is it still their guy who's their youth manager?
It's Darryl McMahon at Dagenham, isn't it?
Dagenham, sorry. Why do you think they're shot?
Been there, and then we got Oldham away, which is a massive game, isn't it? In the context of it, new manager they've not done anything since, have they? And then you look at Bromley, always a tough game. Then you look at that it's a trophy, but then you look at Yeovil twice, new manager picking up, getting some points, and then you think, well, it's going to be January, and is it going to be any different? See, Scunthorpe are going to be on to their third manager of the season. They've changed manager again today, so they're trying to do something, aren't they? And I would have less issue if I'm not saying I'm Johnson out or whatever else, because I've said all along it's about results, and we're bottom of the league. So maybe that says I am Johnson out. I don't know, but you look at. But even if the club came out and said, look, this is a situation, financially changing the manager is not an option for our football club. So what we all need to do is that's not going to happen. So what we need to do is get behind the players. We'll support with the budget we can to improve the squad. And this is where we are and this is what we've got to do. I'd have respect for that, because then you would say, okay, fair enough. Nothing we can do about that. Yeah. But no one is saying a word. And then you have these conversations, and the poll, Sam, no doubt you'll mention again, and the numbers are getting higher.
They are getting higher. Aren't they? They're getting higher. It's on the website this week.
It's definitely turned now. The tide, isn't there? There's not people saying, "Oh, he should stay for that reason."
And even like his biggest fans. But I was just going, you know what? Can't. It's any other club. He's gone.
It's not about being a fan of him now. It's about winning games of football.
Exactly. And as I said to a few Torquay fans, I'm not a fan of Gary. I'm a Torquay United fan. It's
all about Torquay United, isn't it? Well, what's best for us? I mean, we've loved Gary's time at Torquay for a couple of years, but it's going badly wrong, and we can say it's not a good enough squad, but it's all his squad. It's all players he's recruited, so that comes back to him as well. I mean, and his brother. But the final word is Gary, isn't it? He's got these players in, and he said that I believe in these players, and it's clear he doesn't now, because basically we got as many loan players in as possible, and we're trying to shoehorn them in.
I don't get where the accountability is in management. You're always accountable in any industry. You're accountable. You're always the figurehead. You can have people that work for you and whatever else, but ultimately as a manager, you are accountable. And he is accountable. Yeah. And some situations, it's the players that go out and cross the white line. I can't play for them and all of that. No, but you brought them into the club. He signed every player.
They are still playing for him. They are still playing for him. You can't deny that.
But you're right. But
Yeah.
that's not
That's not the
unfortunately
point.
that's fastly becoming not the point. Those questions you
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
go after
Get
the
us
And
game.
that's
results.
even worse.
Yeah.
That shows they're
Oh,
very
Gaffer,
bad.
you must be really frustrated. You've started me now. Gaffer, you must be really frustrated having dominated the second half at Barnet and all of the game on Saturday. You've not won. Absolutely. You got 1 point from that. And that's starting to become a real problem.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
yes, the performances were better. My dad was coming away saying at the weekend, yeah, the performance was better.
The performance
There
was
was
better,
more
but then
purpose,
you
the
get
patterns
battered
of play.
4-0. You get battered
got
4-0
1
at the
point.
weekend, it means nothing.
There's going to come a point where we've got to start winning some games where we are going to be in massive trouble.
We
That
really
hasn't
are.
happened yet because for who knows, you could pick up 2 wins from nowhere and it could all look a lot brighter. But that's got to happen pretty soon, or this is going to be coming into the new year in this situation.
Yeah.
The gap will be getting bigger.
What he's finally realised, that it's taken so long for experienced managers like him, is a better formation. Because Saturday's team looked better, balanced, because you have 4 at the back, which they're happier with. 3 in midfield, you had Evans floating around, you had Whit. It did look better set up.
Yeah.
It's just
It did at Barnet as well, didn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
It's taken so long to come to.
And that again is on his
these tactics,
head.
which we could have told you weeks ago. I mean,
We were telling you.
we know very little about.
And we
football.
know nothing. Chris is the only one with some coaching badges.
Well, that's it.
But again, and of course, the other problem is I was thinking about this again yesterday. So Evans has come back in. He was decent Saturday. He's got to work on his end product. It was a good ball in for the goal. So then what happens on Saturday then? Because he's been lucky that since Good Evans has been fit, either De Silva or Goodwin's not been available. So what happens when all these lone players are available? What happens then?
Where's Scott Smith gone?
Well, no, but the 5 that were involved on Saturday, if you look at those 5, Ellis, Ness, Wern, De Silva, and Evans, well, they all started the game. So Goodwin, you would think, would come back in. Who are you going to get out?
That's the trouble.
Can we just speak about Corey Andrews a minute as well, right? We all signed him. He is the marquee signing, right? Because he's done well at Aldershot last season. You sign him injured. He signed, when we were talking about signing him, it was that Buckland friendly. He was limping. He had a groin injury. I don't think he didn't play much for pre-season, and then he got injured. Was it the first game he went off injured against Oldham? So you signed an injured player.
Yeah, first quarter of an hour, isn't it?
Fell into the goalkeeper, didn't he?
Yeah. You signed an injured player. He then, I won't lie to you, has some of the worst ever striking performances I've ever seen in a Torquay shirt, like, which is pretty impressive. Like, he gets himself away, but he hasn't scored a goal. He gets himself
again. That's the stat, isn't it? He's a forward,
and he can't anticipate anything. I'm sure because I said that. I quoted when I saw his goals for Aldershot last season, I went, oh, he could be like Jamie Reid. He could be that sort of player. He could be the main man. And we've got Jarvis, who turned out to be a good striker. And
he's quickly going into the pantheon of terrible strikers to be signed by Torquay, don't we? If we don't find
he's gone into the Manny Dooku books. Is it a confidence thing then? Is it? I don't know without being in training with him, do you?
We don't know, but we need him to score goals because he was the main man.
The same with the squad. I said to Dad when I saw the team sheet on Saturday, God, if anything happens to Jarvis in the first 15 minutes of this game, what then?
Yeah.
Because if Jarvis gets a whack on the head and he's concussed and has to go off after 10 minutes, what then?
He's such a warrior. He's a warrior up front, Jarvis, and he to get behind. He's got a bit of Silsey about him. And he
absolutely,
I like Danny. He's the only player, like, we've replaced Danny Wright, basically. Like, Danny Wright's the only player.
Love Silsey. Love Silsey, but he's got more footballing ability than Silsey had in terms of what
his touch was really good on Saturday, Chris. When a couple of times he juggled the ball, kept it nice, passed it. Yeah, he deserved his goal. I don't think he's a poacher. He doesn't get quite in the positions you need him, but he does a lot more. So credit to him.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good, and again, I mean, that structure worked a little bit better with kind of having that kind of 4-2-3-1 type formation. But Lapsley's injured again, it seems, as well as Andrews. So
he's had a good run. He's had more than 3.
Well, he has. He's probably played 8 or 9 games in a row, hasn't he? Pretty much. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe something's conked out. I don't know. But I mean,
I think you have to keep Evans in. I think you have to keep that formation together because away against Dagenham, I think 2 up front will just leave us open and we'll lose, considerably. 3 in midfield has got to be the way to go. I just don't know who you'd replace. You'd have to take Ness out, perhaps, but then you've got to put an Omar or Marshall
you've got to play Ness and
but otherwise you've got to take Wern or De Silva out.
I guess the way to solve it is to sign one of them permanently, isn't it? And you would think the way, presumably Ellis is the likeliest of that, probably. But I mean, again,
I can't imagine somebody like Ellis wanting to sign permanently at the moment. I mean, where does he see his career going? He probably still fancies a game in the league, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's 35, wasn't playing, hasn't played consistently in the Football League for years, has he? He's picking, he's the man, he's playing every game. So I don't know. I mean, Wern is still the one, isn't he? In those first couple of games, he looked really good. But again, I go back to what I said last season when we signed him again this season. How much does he contribute in games? How much does he influence games? Is he scoring goals? Is he setting goals up? The answer is no, he's not.
He's not the fastest, and he's not very strong. I suppose maybe take him out. But
he gets you up the pitch. He can move. He can move with the ball, and he gets you up the pitch.
He's a nice, tricky player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But he doesn't. De Silva, influences the game, doesn't he? He takes people on, and as I've said a couple of times before, he's got to work on his end product. But there were 2 or 3 really good balls in on Saturday, so that's getting better. But he's quick, and opposition don't like that, do they? Whereas you could stick, I don't know, the greatest of respect to, Hansen or whoever on the left wing, and they'd probably do a similar job. But Wern has more ability with his feet, but he's not scoring goals and he's not setting goals up, is he? So that's what he's there to do. It
comes down to the construction of the squad, doesn't it? When we're trying, we need to shoehorn more loan players into.
Along Martin and Ben Wyatt have as well, right?
Yeah. Well, again, they're natural width, aren't they? They get forward, natural ability on that left-hand side. But they're both pretty serious injuries, aren't they? They're both kind of broken bone type territory, injury. So you'd have thought it'll be a while yet.
What a mess!
It'll be interesting. I'll be surprised to see many changes.
How many of these are on 2 years?
Well, there seems to be a few, don't there? And that's going to be another discussion, isn't it? Because we've all said, why don't we ever sign in on 2-year deals? Little and 11, all these people have gone, all the rest of it. And now it looks like, from what you hear, we've signed a few of these on 2-year deals. Your McGavins, your Hansons,
in the south. Which, if I'm honest, there's a couple of them which I think are on 2-year deals. Where this is a conversation for about 3 or 4 months. Hopefully,
not yet.
But there's a couple that I think you'd actually probably benefit from being you need a lower tier down anyway. So
that's the last of our worries at the moment. 2-year deals, and it's all about the now. And oh God, worried about what we're going to be doing next summer.
I'm really looking forward to next summer. I want the season.
But we've got to go to one of these games and win, haven't we? And we've got to do it pretty soon. Forgetting Johnson's future or whatever the rest. We're looking at the club. We've got to go to somewhere like Dagenham and get a win. All these clubs around us, Maidstone, Yeovil, even who've pushed up Halifax, who are down our way, they're picking up results, aren't they?
We need to score goals away from home. We haven't done that very often, have we?
A few comments on the website this week. We'll do it in one episode because just make it a bit shorter this week. Merce says get rid ASAP. This is on the Johnson thing. A lot of people say that. Comment replies to it. Unfortunately, it's time to go unless we want the South again. That is a portion of what people agree. Nick says, I don't believe the question is as easy as Gary Johnson in or out. Sadly, something has been very wrong at the club since having Louisville some 14 months ago. Very good point. The team is quite spineless, lacks fight and ability. This was not again helped by the departing players and what we perceive to be poor recruitment. The reasons for this need to be explored further. Why can we not attract better players? Why do players leave? Are wages that poor? Why are 2-3 year contracts not used to attract better players? Is location a huge factor? Let's move the training out of Devon. Does it only care and has further investment been investigated? Does anyone have a rich American Saudi friend to invest?
I just come in there, Sam. I think it's fair. Some of that's fair, but equally the geography and the finance of our football club's not changed at any point. So we're not going to win. We don't. It is. I mean, there are certain.
There's a reply to that. So thanks, Nick. That's a lovely comment. Gareth replies, fans say it's TFC's remote geographical location that prevents good players their prime signing, not poor wages. If so, how comes Plymouth Argyle top of League One?
Because they're offering players more money than we are.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Plymouth in League One, they are not spending anywhere near the amounts of teams around them.
Clearly, I have no knowledge for this. Well, no knowledge for what I'm about to say, but I am willing to bet if Torquay offered £1,500 a week to come and sign to play for Torquay, and Solihull Moors offered you £1,000 a week to go and play there, and you live in Derby or you live in Kettering or I don't know, a lot of people will take the geography is really important, because
Yeah, of course.
a lot of people, not a lot of people do what Helsted has done, what Asa Hall's done down the years, and come and move down here. So I am willing to bet, I have no knowledge for this, but I am willing to bet you that there are players who accept less money on geographically better players for their
Well,
life.
that's why the standard of
and
the
that's a big
Conference
of it.
North. That's why the standard of the
Yeah,
Conference North is levels above the
absolutely.
South.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a big issue. That you know, it is about money, but it's about geography for us as well.
Yeah.
Which means the money you do spend, you have to spend wisely.
We'd love to know the honest truth behind Gary's dealings and what he's had to try to do with players, and the figures that have happened and occurred, and how far he's out and who he's had to deal with. You know, and that would be very interesting. But
there's another
retired
comment on that thread, another couple actually. Shall I read them out? They're very interesting. It's a bit different to like the Twitter ones, which are all brilliant, of course, but a bit different the website ones. Funnily enough, I was talking with an Argyle fan on Thursday about this same situation. He agreed that if you look at Argyle's situation down the years, they have struggled with attracting good players. And when they didn't hang around for long. When you listen to the old players who moved on from Argyle, they quoted the family not settling, too far to get home, unable to get to football matches, etc. Yeah, we've had that one before. Even managers have been quoted as stating the same. Argyle now a club that relies on loan players and the old ones who don't mind coming down here to resurrect their careers as well as local talent. If their fortunes change, you'll find they will struggle again. Unfortunately, our location is an issue for a lot of players and their families who are just seen as a holiday region. TUFC also struggled to bring in decent players due to the factors of location, standard, and wages. I'm afraid it doesn't matter who the manager is. Thank you very much. Another brilliant comment. Got one more. Simon simply just says, Gary, go, please. To the point. Thank you, Simon. One more in that sort of Argyle thread. It's basically disagreeing with it again. It's about Plymouth Argyle, basically. And
Exeter City have struggled this summer, haven't they? They said they
did struggle this summer. They've relied on their academy, and
well.
a lot of all their
they've got
players
the
are
academy
expiring.
to back them up.
And Alan's just said similar again. All brilliant constructive points by all of you.
And on the positive side, I've just read that you can watch the FA Trophy tie with Chippenham for £10.
I won't be.
It's a bargain,
isn't it? I know, absolutely. Isn't that good? I've just noticed that, but yeah, absolutely. That's
a week before Christmas.
Hard luck to the Torquay women, by the way.
What a great appealing time to have a trophy that not a lot of people get excited about at the best of times.
And we lost.
What a great time!
And we lost 1-0 to them in the South on the O's, didn't we?
So we're going to win on Saturday then?
No.
Oh God! To make a case for us to win on Saturday is really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know we played better on Saturday, but it was against a poor team, wasn't it, Chris? They gave us a lot of space to play in, so you factor that in, don't you? So, and we never beat Dagenham, do we?
Well, we do never beat Dagenham. Dagenham play an open style of football, don't they? They always have done. They play with strong, with width and pace, don't they? So defensively, that might be hard work, but equally, when you play Dagenham, you've always got a chance. You've always got chances because they play quite an open way, don't they? So if we can, the key will be to take chances. If we can defend solidly and resolutely and take some chances, we might be in with a chance. But it is hard to make a case to say we're going to go there and win, because if we can't win on Saturday,
get over this mental hurdle at the moment. It's just a block, isn't it? Even against Gateshead, we go 1-0 up, and there's that mental block. We're not going to win this, are we? Backs against the wall. Suddenly we're all over the place, and we can't do that against Dagenham. They'll take advantage of it.
And unfortunately, the problem is that only comes from doing it. It only comes from having that knowledge. He says, yeah, we've done this before, right? What did we do that was successful that meant we won the game? We did this, right, lads? We've got to do this, switch on. But when you go ahead, you can see within 5 minutes again. And so then the next time you take the lead in a match with 20 minutes to go, it's going to be, oh God, do you remember when this happened against Gateshead? Not, right, come on, lads, we can do this. And that's the problem. That is the problem.
Yeah.
You've got to have experience of these things.
You've got to keep pushing and keep playing the game, haven't you? That's we just don't seem to be strong enough to do that. So.
But we're going to win 2-1 on Saturday.
That's a relief, anyway. That is
it. That is going to be a relief.
3-0 to win for Dagenham. Ronaldo's just scored.
I'll say it's always 1-0 to Dagenham, isn't it? Dagenham.
Yeah. Well, I'm hopeful
That's a
we'll
good point,
win because
actually.
it's about time. I haven't seen. I've seen us win one game this season. So
I reckon, right?
it's
Let's roll back Dagenham away. In the season, we got relegated already. I'm off to a good start here. In League Two. Yeah. 1-0 win. Michael Pope masterclass. Aaron Downs header. The Alan Nil.
Oh, I was there that day. That was just after Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah, just after Christmas. No, I don't think
Yeah.
Alan Nil
Wait,
was
no,
there.
remember that head at the far post, far end. Yeah.
Maybe. We might have a game where we win and then still get relegated like that, yeah.
So you're telling me Aaron Downs is going to come on and score the win? Oh, good.
I'll still play Aaron.
Funny that because there's two Aaron Downs stories. There's that one, and then another year midweek I was there when he ripped somebody up in about the second minute and got sent off, and we were 1-0 down after 2 minutes with a penalty, and then we scrapped back from 1-0 and 2-1 down and got a point. 10 men.
Do you remember when we lost 4-3 and Aaron Downs just absolutely took someone out in the corner flag? The under Hargreaves. When
That was Telford. That was at Telford. Yeah.
Martin Wright did not have a great day. Nor did Aaron.
We also lost 4-3 at Dagenham one year when we were 4-1 down, and if Mustafa Carriol had squared to Tim Sills,
Was that 5-3?
we would have got a point. Was it 5-3? Yeah, it was. It was 4-3 when it happened.
Second game back
that's
in
right.
League Two. Yeah.
And if Carriol had squared it to Sills rather than shooting, Sills had an open goal at 4-3, then they broke away and scored again. Yeah.
It's not the only time that Carriol struggled to relocate in London, is it?
Yeah, no, knowing where it is, but yeah. So we have got that's good positive vibes. That Sam, we have got history of winning there.
Yeah. And losing 1-0. It does just feel. Didn't we lose 1-0 in the Owen season? Oh, I don't know. I don't care either.
We lost 1-0 in the COVID. We lost 1-0 in the COVID season because I remember the stream went down when we come back up. A couple minutes later, we were losing 1-0.
Yeah, they scored. Yeah, I got a refund for that, I think.
So did I. Yeah, so did I.
If in our goal, I would have asked. But...
No, I was being stroppy because we got beaten. I think.
Take me back.
Positive vibes. Come on, we'll be fine.
Thank you very
we love
much.
this club so much, didn't we? Why do they hurt us so much?
Also, one thing I will say, as I did try and say earlier, but I've tried to interrupt you instead. Unlucky to the Torquay women. They lost 3-2 there for Cup June. They were very brave. They did brilliantly for us.
They played really well from a couple of reports I read. Yeah.
So
made a couple of signings as well. And they just nicked somebody extra, haven't they? Which is always good. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah. And thank you for the sponsors again. And go there. It's a very nice place. And anything to add?
Going to win. It's fine. It's coming.
We are going to win. Yeah, that's it, Chris. You tell them.
you can play that back at the start of next week, Sam. All right.
All right, mate.
Yeah, I mean, for all our moans, we are still supporting the team to the hill, aren't we? We just need them to do something for us very soon.
I just want the club to actually wake up as well.
Yes, wake up.
Anyway, we can have the same conversation next week. So I'll see you in a bit.
See you then, lads. Look forward to it.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benjamin. Sells.